Hi everyone, I'm Luke Hector and this is the Broken Meeple, a board game YouTube channel where I give reviews, top 10s, and my honest opinions, regardless of the consequences. Wait a minute. One sec. Right, that's better. Seriously, do you know how hard it is to find space for a ton of piled up games in this place? It is not exactly a colossal vault here, people. But yes, I have returned from Essen, and of course everybody does their Essen big haul. You know, this is my, all the games I bought from Essen. Well, okay, I like doing those as well, but why do it as a picture? Why not just tell you what I got? So I'm going to basically go through everything that I've acquired from Essen, except for things like little promos and little doohickeys and stuff like that. Not that interested in those kind of things normally, they just come with the game basically. But in terms of the big games, whether expansions or not, or even some accessories, I'm just going to go very quickly as to what I got, and then you can give your thoughts in the comments about them all. So some of these are review copies, some of them are not. I would probably say the majority of them are not. And some of these accessories were, you know, just things I felt for myself. Some of them are even presents from the publisher. So there's a smorgasbord of stuff to go through. Might as well get on with it. And where do I even start? This pile? That pile? Even the stuff that's in front of me you can't even see on camera? Well, pick one.
What are you waiting for? A kiss goodbye?
Alright, let's start with what's in front of me here, okay? So you can see him in the shot. Yep, this was a lovely present from Folded Space. As you know, I rave about these inserts. I go mad for these. So I actually looked through their catalogue, and 99% of all the games that they've got in their catalogue that I own have Folded Space inserts. Yeah, I'm not just, saying this stuff. I'm putting my money where my mouth is here, people. I have got a ton of these inserts, and in games I've bought and later sold, I still give those inserts with them because, well, they're frankly really good. But I've grabbed a couple, thanks to Folded Space for the little presents, and these are basically the two I don't have, basically, which is Nidavellir, which is a game I have not got off my shelf in ages, but maybe this will help, having an insert that, for the most part, is kind of rudimentary, but it has a nice sort of stable structure that keeps that really bendy platform where you hold the coins nice and sturdy, so this should be pretty good. And also, of course, Earth. Yep. Earth, one of my favorite games of the year. Earth has its own insert. Now technically I do have a bit of a storage solution for this already with some Hobbycraft tubs, but they don't always fit back in as neatly as I would like, and sometimes I find that if I don't pack it in right, then there's a box lift, and I figured, you know what, this will solve that problem. There shouldn't be any box lift with this insert in it, and it will still allow for quick setup, so all in all, really cool. Deep Rock Galactic, really loving these. Got a new map scenario called Eggs and Gems. That's basically a promo, but hey, I like Deep Rock Galactic, so I'm glad to get more stuff. Alright, let's see. I got one little game here from Taiwan Board Design. I think I got another one from them somewhere here. I'll have to see where it is. But Christmas Tree. I don't know much about this game. They've given it to me as a review copy. I believe this was issued like a few years ago. I've heard Tom Vassell talk about this in in holiday games, top 10 lists. I honestly know nothing about this game. It's in a cardboard tuck box, which I'm not a fan of. Maybe I'll have to find one of those cases that I use for vegetable stock for the same thing, but collect decorations and collect more than your fellow elves. Don't sit on the pile of ornaments for too long or you might lose them. I have no idea if this is any good or not, but you know what? I like small little quirky card games, and the Asian companies in particular tend to do some really cool quirky ones, so I'm eager to give this one a shot. Alright, on the subject of weird quirky card games, again, a bit of a gamble. This is called Tricky Badger, and literally the only reason I've got it is because a friend of mine who watches my show said, ooh, we like trick-taking games. I found this one called Tricky Badger, and that's it. I don't know how the game plays, I don't know what the trick-taking part is, I just know that it's got a cover of a really cute badger and two of the most adorable little dormice or whatever they are on there. It's like, they are so cute, and I hope it's a good game. I mean, it was €10, it was a cheap little game that I just thought, you know what, I like trick-taking games. Would I prefer to have Nikosu dice in my hand? Yes. But CEO, please bring more than 200 copies in future, or send me a copy of the game, because I'd like to review it for you. But, in the absence of that, I'm going to certainly check out Tricky Badger and see if it's good from a trick-taking perspective. Right, similar, on the subject of Asian companies, we've got Emperor S4. I've sung the praises of a lot of their games before. I own a lot of their stuff, so there wasn't much new for me to take, and I still, say hands down that Hanamakoji is one of the best two-player casual games in existence. But they made this new one called Shadow House Masquerade, a fun little party game. Now, I've not really known Empress 4 to do a lot of party games, but small, quirky card games I'm always interested in. But this one's got my attention because, you know, this is a review copy, but I like the idea of this because it's one of those, like, oh, right, it's a card game and you've got to catch the culprit and, you know, who's hiding amongst the players, so it's kind of an element of social deduction with some card play. But the time length is 15 minutes, and apparently the rounds take about 5 minutes each. Like, this is a micro game social deduction card game for 3 to 8 players. Okay, I'm intrigued. You have me intrigued. I do like micro games. I think micro games need a bit more love, you know, especially easy ones. So, yeah, try to wow me again in Breast 4. This is certainly outside your normal wheelhouse, and I'm keen to give it a try. Right, oh boy, this one. I've been singing the praises of this one for a while over the weekend. Sweet Mess. This, I honestly think, is one of the better hidden gems that exists at Essen. It's from Pika Game Studios, and one of the designers is Johnny Pack. But the thing with this is I actually thought going in that this was going to be like the throwaway game of Pika and Fantasia. Like, you've got Unconscious Mind, you've got these other ones, you've got Flow that you're showing off, and what's this one? Sweet Mess? Never heard of it. Alright, fine, this is your little kiddie game, fine, I'll give it a demo and see what's what because the table's free, you know, and after all I love Unconscious Mind, so I figured why not try something else from them. Boy did I get, like, proved wrong. Boy did I eat my words. This is actually a really solid game. This could be a sleeper hit. Apparently the history is that this used to be a Kickstarter about 6 years ago, and I forget the reasons why, but the old Kickstarter fell apart, and so the backers weren't going to get their copy. Pika Games effectively rescued the game. I've kind of reissued it in this sort of pastry competition guise, and effectively have taken over the Kickstarter to fulfill it, as far as I'm aware. I don't know the full details, but I thought, you know what, I'll give this one a try. I have played this 3 times this weekend already. I've taught it twice and I've played the demo. This is a solid game. You're basically chefs on a pastry competition trying to bake cakes and pastries, but the mechanics of this is kind of like Splendor if you up the meat value, which I know is weird to say about a pastry game, but it's essentially a meatier Splendor. You get poker chips for the ingredients, but there's like some different rules about how you get them. You've got an action selection, you've got to select a different one each time. You trade the chips in to make pastries, but then you put them in your oven board, and depending how long you leave it in there, you get a bigger bonus. But if you leave it in there too long, you won't be able to use their, whether they're icons for awards, which are going to complete the end game timer. So do you keep it in for a short time and don't get a good bonus, or do you leave it in there for a while? There's all these cool little choices that it throws in, but did I mention this game is frigging gorgeous? This is insane. €50 this cost. €50 for this massive box deluxe version, and I mean, the pieces in this, the artwork in that, for €50 was an absolute bargain. I've seen games for €70 plus go with worse components than this. Apparie from Stonemaier was selling for 90. I'm sorry, 50, 90, no. You get Sweet Mess. I've already, Paul's Grogan's going to have one for the raffle, for the GridCon raffle, and this one is essentially my review copy from Pika, so this will get a review as well, along with the playmat, which is, I've already opened it up. It's a gorgeous playmat. I mean, look at this. Whoop! Nice playmat. This cost me €10. Less than £10 for a playmat that is really good looking, quite sizable, and is functional. Because the one issue I have with this is that you've got these edge tiles that the chips can go on and you can select from them, but you've got to align them with the plates that the ingredients go on, and that can get a little bit fiddly at times. This solves that problem because all the spaces are pre-printed on the mat. This mat is excellent. Like, you want this if you've got this game. And to have this and that for €60, oh my god, I can't get over how much good value for money that is from the components perspective. But does it stand the test of time as a game? I mean, I've enjoyed it a lot for my plays, but will it hold up after more plays in the solo mode? Well, we'll have to see. But yeah, a promising start for a game that I almost wrote off without even realizing. And while I'm reaching over here, here we go. Pyramido. Now, technically, I didn't acquire this one. This was given to me by Greater Than Games, Synapse Games, Flat River Group, because I was demoing this at Essen. I demoed this for them, a 2 to 4 player abstract game, 45 minutes, where you build up a pyramid of tiles, and the idea is that you score in 4 different phases for the symbols that are revealed from the different tiles. But these tiles are good, nice quality thick tiles, and it's basically almost like a king domino thing of like select a domino, put it in your pyramid, and slowly build it up for floors. But the cleverness here is that you have to try and keep the color groups separate and, you know, as large as possible with icons, and these markers dictate which ones score. But as you build up through the different floors, your ability to keep those color group connected becomes based on how good your decisions were in the earlier game. There's just a really cool little cleverness to this, but the rules are dirt simple. You can teach this in about 10 minutes and be gone and dusted within an hour. And that's with 4 players. You play this with 2 or 3, it is lightning fast. It's definitely going to be one of those underrated hidden gems of the convention, and I'm not just saying this because I demoed it for them. Honestly, I think this is a solid little abstract game that's definitely, I think, gateway, well, maybe not gateway, but it's certainly light level. Well, it could be gateway. There's a little bit more cleverness to this, but the rules are straightforward, so I guess this could be gateway. I don't know, but it was underrated, and they sold out on the booth, their partner booth where they were selling it, so I must have made a good impression. But if you're in one of the games that I taught of this and you enjoyed it, then, well, I'm happy. I'm happy that you enjoyed it. But yeah, I've got my own copy as well. Alright, let's have a look-see. We are done mostly with that. We'll get to some other bits there a little later, but why don't we try this part that you've been staring at? Okay, fine. Free Ring Circus, and I'm also going to fetch out the White Castle as well. These are from Devere Games. Now, granted, I don't normally go mad for Devere Games. Devere Games have made some fine games, but, you know, games like Lacrimosa and Bamboo and a few of their others, I'm like, these are fine, but I haven't found one that's a belter. None of them have sort of stood out as like, oh yeah, this is the amazing game that I want to play. And I thought I'll try and demo these two, because loads of people are crying havoc about these two, about being amazing. But I couldn't get into a demo to save my life, at all. It was just impossible to get into one of these. But they were €30 each, 30 and 35. Just buy it. It's cheap enough to get for reviews. And I haven't played Free Ring Circus, but the designers and the artist Edu Valles, who I swear appears on 4 or 5 different games at Essen this year. This guy's the new Vincent Dutray. He's just basically like illustrating everything. They signed the box, you know, which you won't be able to see there, but look at that clown. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah, that was Edu Valles. He did that really cool clown doodle for me, literally in like about 10 minutes or so. Guy's talented, but yeah, I've got a nice signed box. The game looks cool, but other than that, I don't really know a lot about Free Ring Circus, so again, a gamble. But for €35 and signed, not that expensive a gamble, so I figured why not? The White Castle, on the other hand, everybody's been going on about this, and I kept looking at the pictures, and I was like, what are people on about? It didn't look that enticing from the pictures. It looked semi-pretty, but it was dice placement and actions, and you only get 9 of them in the entire game, and I was like, what are people going on about? Because I'm just not seeing it. Well, this was a game that after buying it, I unwrapped it, taught it from the rulebook, and played it the same night to find out, because I had to know what was going on with this. It's essentially like it's an Asian setting, but honestly the theme, whatever. I mean, they use the theme as the setting, but that's about it. And the stuff barely fits in the box. It's a bit of a nightmare. I don't want to get the stuff out because I know it won't fit. But essentially what will happen is that you've got a board with these 3 bridges that have dice on them in ascending order. You choose the die from either side and you place it on these different action spaces to send warriors to a training camp, to send courtiers up into the castle, to get farmers out. Each one does a different thing to kind of get you different actions and victory points. But it's all about chaining. It's all about, right, I'll do this action, which allows me to do this. And then by doing that, I might now have the resources to trigger this little bit on the side, which lets me do this action. It sends that person over there. Right, my turn is done. You're trying to do as much with those 9 actions as you can. The game's not done, though. It's only about 70, 80 minutes. And I think we took an hour and a half. About an hour and a half or so, hour of 40 minutes. But that was with me teaching from the rule book to 3 of us. So this is not a difficult game to get into. It's not light, but I'd say it's like lighter end of midweight. But I gotta admit, so far, first impressions, this is pretty solid. I enjoyed it. I do think that if you start off bad, you're gonna struggle to do well, but then it is only a 70, 80 minute game, so it's not a long one. I hear the solo mode is not impossible, we'll have to see. But I was genuinely surprised. I was ready to look at this from a visual perspective and go, it's nothing that major about it, but I'm pleased I've got it. All I gotta do is give it some more play. So, Devere Games, wow me. Here we go. Alright, let's take a look. Let's speed on a bit through these a bit quicker, because I notice I'm taking quite a bit of time. Alright, Forest Shuffle. Nice cool card game. You know, I've been told everybody has been telling me this is a great card game on Board Game Arena, so I figured why not buy it. I don't know how it plays. All I know is that the illustrations look gorgeous. It's Lookout Games, which typically means it will be a good card game, because they tend to. And I'm literally placing my trust in the hands of the patrons, basically, on this one. But it looks cool, and for that, just for being super pretty, I want to play this. But I hear the scoring phase is a bit weird with this, and BGA would handle the scoring phase for you. This you got to do it yourself. Fiddly scoring could be a problem, but we'll see if that holds water. Alright, Lucky First Incense. Now, this is another one from Taiwan Board Design. It's kind of a push your luck game where you're trying to get your people to race to pray for like the spirits for their incense. I forget, was it? Legend has it that lighting the first incense on Lunar New Year brings blessings and luck for the entire year. So everybody's like competing to get the prime position for lighting these incense candles. This is apparently a thing in Taiwan that exists. You know, this is actually a thing. It's based on a real event. So it was interesting getting the designer to tell me more about this event. But as for the game, we'll see. I think this is going to be like a really light, really straightforward kind of push your luck, take that game, you know, just, you know, nice bit of simplicity, and we'll give it a shot. Let's put it down there. Alright, Imperial Miners, the new game from Portal. Now, I haven't actually dealt with Portal much lately in terms of their games. They haven't released as much in recent years, and the last one I reviewed, what was that, 11? And 11 was a bit of a letdown for me. But this, I love the Empires of the North, you know, game. I like Imperial Settlers, so I'm into this universe of games. The question is this new one any good? It's an engine builder. You expand a mine, build machines, and overcome collapses, and basically, you know, combine cards from factions, and, you know, it's engine building. I mean, is the theme strong? Who knows? I mean, it's a card game at the end of the day, but the rulebook should be relatively easy to learn. And you know what? I'm down for another game in this kind of genre of light engine builders. So we'll see if it's any good. But other than that, I haven't played it yet, so we're going to see how it goes. And I'm going to say this about a lot of these games. I have not played the vast majority of the stuff you see here, okay? Some of these are still shrink-wrapped. I'm just telling you what I got, okay? So yeah, people would have had my head off if I didn't get Evacuation. And no, I have not played it. Some people have. I wasn't going to try and get into a demo, and I wasn't in the games that were being played at the Premier Inn. I will see what this is like with a group of friends of mine who are into these big games, and from those of us who love, you know, well, they like Vladimir Suchy games more than I do, but that's not to say I dislike Vladimir Suchy games. I mean, he had Shipyard there as well, and spoiler alert, that's not on my list because I wasn't a massive fan of Shipyard. But Prago's okay. Woodcraft I felt was a little disappointing. I love Pulsar 2849. I love Underwater Cities. Messina was a bit meh. So it's hit and miss. This one looks cool from the theme perspective, but two modes of play as a race or play for victory points. I'm always a bit worried about that because that usually means one mode doesn't work very well and the other one does. Which one's which? I mean, this is not a short game. It's going to take me a while to figure that out. But this might take me a while to actually do any proper review on because obviously, unlike the Nordic countries, Asmodee can't get anything in advance in the UK, so I have to wait till Essen to get this. We'll see if it's any good. Hopefully it'll be another hit like Underwater Cities, but, you know, I'm going in with tempered expectations. Let's see. Now this was high on my anticipated list. This is Kutna Horror, the City of Silver. So this one is Czech Game Edition's new game, and yes, I know it's not a looker from the cover, and to be fair, when you look at the actual board and components themselves, they're not exactly much of a looker either. But, you know, a mid-weight Euro game with a lot of thinkiness, multi-use cards, which I'm always a fan of, with do-it-your-actions, but I'm really interested in this guild pricing market. The idea that you have 3 guilds that you're in charge of, and, you know, the actions that you can do dictate the price of the various materials, like wood and food and that. And so you have, like, player upon player interaction of a dynamic pricing market. That sounds fun. And if it's not overwrought and complicated like something out of, I don't know, maybe City of the Big Shoulders or Arkwright, you know, it's like those huge, massive economic games, something a little bit more simpler in that regard, less fiddly, I'm down to see. I'm placing a lot of hope in this. After all, it was my number 5 on my anticipated list, but let's hope it's a good one. Yeah, let's hope it's a good one. A small point, if you're wondering why the lighting is a little bit weird today, it's because my bulb has blown, which means I'm literally using the 2 ring lights and nothing else. That's why there's probably a few shadows going around. Either that or I'm haunted. One of the two. Alright, here we go. Artipia Games. This was also on my anticipated list, and I'm also going to get this and this. Yes, I decided with my last €50 that I was going to invest in some pieces for another game and these 2 expansions. I have no idea if I'm going to use them early, and I'm not going to review the game based on these expansions. I'm just going to add them in and maybe comment on them in the podcast or something. This is the review copy I have. Thank you, Artipia Games, and this is Ceres. So, yeah, in fact, which other ones were review copies? The Taiwan board design was, and that was it. Oh, Pyramido? Well, Pyramido wasn't a review copy, that was a demo copy. Kutna Horror. Kutna Horror was a review copy, so thanks Check Game Editions for that. Well, thank you, Artipia Games, for Ceres. This, step into the expanse of Ceres, a distant asteroid colony where your role as a space mining corporation encompasses both resource extraction from the asteroid belt and trade with arriving cargo ships. So this is essentially a mid-weight, potentially heavy Euro from Artipia Games, which we have not seen for a while, and I don't recognize the designer either. So Artipia Games are due another big hit, because as much as I sing the praises of Pursuit of Happiness, it's probably the last game from them that I have sung the praises about. I'm hoping that this will be another one that I can sing the praises of. Although, I didn't see a lot of people talk about this game at Essen. I mean, there was a lot of people playing it, because they had all the demo tables, but I didn't see much from like other people who had bought it playing it. So I'm curious how good this one is, or whether it's worth a purchase, but we'll soon see. But it was high on my anticipated list, and I'm going to hope that it does justice as much as I was anticipating it. But please be good. It looks cool from the mechanics, it looks interesting from the theme. Yeah, please. Although, I've just read the development team, Vangelis Bagiatakis. Yes, he's on the development team, and well, he's done some pretty sweet stuff in the past, or at least he's worked on some pretty sweet stuff in the past, as a co-designer, so I got some hopes, but please be good. Please be good. I'll put in the expansions when I'm good and ready, but please be good. Let's put it down there, because I'm running out of space. As for bits, the Pursuit of Happiness upgraded components. For some reason my big box didn't have them, so I decided, you know what, I'll grab them there. And yes, the giant books, the giant bulbs, the giant hourglasses, yep, you name it, I've got all those jumble components here, so that'll be good to get into my Pursuit of Happiness box at some point and play with those. Yummy, yummy, yummy. What's this? Oh, the Solidarity deck for Free Ring Circus. It was like €5 and it's just a bunch of cards. I'm assuming it's for a solo mode or something to beef up the solo mode. I mean, Free Ring Circus does have David Turksey's name on it, so I'm not entirely certain what the point of this is. It just said it was a Solidarity deck. I assumed it was solo related. It was €5. I just bought it at the time, so was that a mistake? I have no idea, but I don't know. I'll slot it into Free Ring Circus and we'll see. Right, 2 more on this pile. So we have a review copy from Sit Down Games. Thank you very much, Sit Down Games. This is Redwood, another artist Edu Vallis game. Seriously, does this guy sleep? Is it Edu Vallis? It's either Edu Vallis or Ed Valls. I can't tell if it's V-E-V-A-L-L-I-S or V-A-L-L-S. What does it say on Free Ring Circus? Edu Valls. Oh, there's no I. There's no I at the end. My bad. Sorry. But this one is a light game. It had a massive Kickstarter from Sit Down Games. Pretty expensive. But I love this cover. A camera lens with all this stuff exploding out of it of nature. This is just a really gorgeous cover. But this is a game I have played. I did play it while it was there. It's kind of like a Zen style light, not quite dexterity game, but you're essentially trying to take photos of all these really nice panoramic like scenes with all the animals and the flowers and stuff. And the idea is that you basically have this big map board where, I hope the light doesn't reflect too much of this, but you've got a map board where your photographers run around, and you've got these templates for moving around the board of different shapes and sizes, but you've also got the lens of different shapes and sizes. And the idea is that you're trying to position yourself in such a way that when you peer in a particular direction, you can take a snapshot that encompasses a lot of the scenery and animals. And you score points for various means of set collection and stuff like that, fulfilling objectives, and you can give points to other players if you use a template that they are currently holding on to. It's light, it's not silly fun, it's just light zen fun. It's just a pleasant, charming little game. Now, will it hold up after multiple plays? Is the solo mode any good? Because it does say 1 to 4. Will my friends like it? I don't know. This one I think is going to be kind of meh for some people, but good for others. I find this good so far on a first play, but I want to try it solo and see if this is just one of those nice, relaxing games, because it is beautiful. It's beautiful when it's out on the table, you know, really, really nice. So I'm hopeful that this will stand the test of time. But thank you, Sit Down Games. We'll give this one a look. All right, Armin Ray. This is a present from Alley Cat Games. Thank you for the present. This was kind of in lieu of doing some videos in the past, Kickstarter videos, and of course the Kickstarter preview of Armin Ray that I did probably a year or so ago. Feels like a long time, but this is the deluxe version of Armin Ray, so this has all the upgraded components, and it was a cool classic Rainer Knizia Euro game, and I've been into this phase of playing some of these classic games of old, now that they're being reprinted for a modern audience, and this one I found better than expected. I wasn't thinking it was going to appeal to me, because Knizia is very hit and miss, but I had good fun with this, others have had good fun, and I look forward to seeing what it looks like on the table from a deluxe perspective, because honestly, I only looked really at it from a retail perspective, and even then a retail prototype perspective. I don't actually remember what the deluxe version has, apart from, I'm guessing, bigger resource blocks and actual pyramid pieces and stuff. So, you know, we'll soon find out when I unbox it, but yep, looking forward to getting this one back to the table actually, although I got enough games to play, so that might be some time. Alrighty, one more pile left. That pile. And I've noticed there's an, yes, oh god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things on there, I think. We'll get there, folks, we'll get there. Oh well, let's just talk about a little darling.
You're not sleeping with it, are you, Ray?
Maybe I am, you don't know. Yeah, this one is, of course, the first thing I wanted when I went to Essen. The Ark Nova Marine Worlds expansion. #1 on my Essen anticipated list. Dear God, I cannot wait to play Ark Nova with this included as soon as possible, although I don't know when that will be because I am at work tomorrow and unboxing a lot of this stuff tomorrow. Then I've got to go to a friend's house to play Pandemic Legacy Season 0 on Wednesday, and then I'm going to a friend's house for a meal and drinks and stuff on Thursday, and then I've got a Dice Cafe Portsmouth you know, party night, which involves me playing some 6-player games, so this won't be on the menu. Maybe on the weekend on the weekend I would like to hope I could play this solo. Maybe if I'm lucky tomorrow night I could do it solo, but it's going to be a while. But I do look forward to getting this in. This is just going to make Ark Nova so good for me. I cannot wait. This is the best thing I could have got there. Literally, I could have just gone there, bought this, and happily just gone home from Essen, and I'd have been totally fine with that. But thankfully for Landspiel, we're selling this on the Wednesday when the exhibitors are present, so I didn't have to queue for 90 minutes like some people did when they were buying Ark Nova the previous year. Nope, this was a cinch to get hold of, and I am so psyched. So psyched. Yes, I cannot wait. Right, next up. Thank you, Evelyn from Mighty Boards, for the review copy of Art Society, which must have annoyed a few people because this sold out within about a day and a half there. It was like really fast sellout. And I got this on the Sunday. Ooh, yes. This was practically a black market transfer of like people wanting a copy of Art Society, and it's like this one was put away especially, so I do feel very grateful for Mighty Boards for doing that. But this is essentially an auction game in a sense. You're hanging paintings on your wall, your player board, in such a way as to increase prestige based on what paintings can go next to each other, what shouldn't go next to each other, different arrangements and things. But you bid with these like paddles which have numbers 1 to 20, but they're one use only. So if you use all the high ones too early, you then don't have them for later. The prestige markers kind of dictate how much points value a lot of these things are worth. Trends will be difficult to predict, and the stuff that you buy doesn't necessarily make its way to the museum, which changes the worth of your own collection. It's got like some clever little mechanics by the sound of it, and it's a light game, not gateway, but a light game. And you know what? I'm down for another game about art, even though some of the other games about art haven't necessarily wowed me as much. But this one sounds like a cool light game. It's got a dual layer cover, which I just think is really cool. These are actually all inlet bits with the paintings. I just think that's really nifty. And so, yeah, 30 to 60 minutes, 2 to 4 players. surprised me. This seems pretty cool. I'm down for trying it. Alright, let's get that down over there. I think it started to pile on that chair. Right, let's go to DLP games now. DLP, Pirates of Maracaibo. This is a bit of a gamble because on the last day I had about, what, like 170 euros left out of about 400 that I was using to buy, I was basically using it to buy review copies that weren't given to me as review copies, so that give the Patreons what they want. Stuff to review. And the idea is this is a spin-off of the original Maracaibo by Alexander Pfister. Now, yes, granted, an Alexander Pfister game isn't the first thing I would normally clamber for, but this is meant to be a lighter version of, a lighter game in that Maracaibo sort of world. Doesn't have the multi-use cards, which is a bit of a shame, but it does have what it says is a more accessible rule set. So hopefully not as fiddly as the original Maracaibo. You essentially you have a cool solo mode in it. It's card driven, dice and resource management, 25 minutes a player, 1 to 4 players, and it doesn't really explain much on here. I mean, you play it over 3 rounds, you sail the Caribbean, you hire crew, ally with ships, explore the shore, amass treasure. You're essentially a pirate. I mean, that's the whole point. It's called Pirates of Maracaibo. Any good? I honestly haven't got a clue. Seriously, I don't know the full mechanics of this. I don't know whether it will be fun or not. I thought it was a bit expensive for 55 euros, honestly. It did seem a little bit on the pricey side, but I know what? I wanted to give it a try, and I had money to burn. And I'm sure some of you want to know how this plays, given that you're probably bigger Maracaibo fans than I was. I liked Maracaibo fine, but I found all the stuff with the free nations and the ships and stuff I found a bit clunky, and the whole abstract way of circling around the world I found that a bit weird, but I loved the multi-use card system in Maracaibo. I thought that was excellent and I really enjoyed that system. Will I prefer this one? Again, I have no idea. We shall find out. On the other hand, I have played this one, and this one, first impressions, pretty solid. Evenful. People were sort of grateful that my top 10 anticipated games list didn't have, Evenful on it compared to what everybody else does. And the designer, who kept his identity a secret when I was chatting for him for 20 minutes, seriously, lead with the fact that you're the designer of a game. I appreciate you for being humble, but come on, milk it a bit. But, he signed the game, so thank you so much, Luke. Have fun in our witchy world. Yep. Got the signature from the designer, but this is an engine building game with the artwork from Martin Mottet, who, if you might recall, did the artwork for Revive, which was for some reason is still on my shelf. I need to get rid of that somewhere because I don't think it's going to make the collection. Maybe I should make that the subject of a Search and Keyboard Cull window. We shall see. But the artwork in Revive is barely on display though. It's barely shown and it still makes Revive look like a bland game. But Evenful, the artwork is all over the cards and it looks fantastic. But it's essentially an engine builder game, and some people tried to compare it to Race for the Galaxy, which is complete rubbish because the Race for the Galaxy mechanics are miles different from this. They're both engine builder card games, that's it. But this one has you playing cards and using them in different ways. Some have multi-use abilities, like play it for an ongoing effect, endgame scoring and that. But the idea is that you've got an inner circle and an outer circle, and they do different things based on where they are. The inner circle can have like abilities that trigger off if you use certain workers. And you can use different workers on the inner circle and the outer circle, which is handy because the ones on the outer circle are also used for these actual battleground locations. So you've only got so many workers, it's good to get them down so you can use this secondary pool of workers that are, in less demand, shall we say. But the idea is that you amass resources and play cards much like a kind of Res Arcana, engine builder feel, and there are different ways to score points, either for using resources or for, clever use of the card mechanics. But one thing I like in this game is that there's no negative player interaction. Some of your things may affect other players, but it's always in a positive way. I get a bunch of victory points, but everybody else gets a book. We fight on this battleground using the scythe deterministic hidden bid mechanic. Yay, I won! But we all get prizes. I just get one extra prize because I won. It's stuff like that. So it's not like I don't punch you in the face, I don't ruin your spot, I don't take your worker or block you from doing something. You can do what you like, but there is a little bit of interaction. Not much. A little bit. But I found the card system in this quite fun. You know, there's some clever combos you can pull off with the inner circle, the outer circle, using specialists for their ongoing abilities or their endgame abilities, how you get the resources. You know, it feels satisfactory, and apparently it has a solo mode that is an AI solo mode, so not a beat your own score one, because the designer said in his own words that he hates beat your own score solo modes as well, so he was adamant that this had to have an AI mode in it. Very nice guy. I mean, kudos to the guy. People were camping the demo, the English demo for this before I could even get there, when I got there early, and he was so nice that he swapped out the English and German decks from the German copy so that I could join in a demo with 3 other people who were happy enough to have English people there, one of which who views the channel and didn't reveal until the end of the session. Why do people do that? Why do people wait until the very end of our, like, you know, our contact before they say I know you? You know, lead with that. But it was just so nice of him to do that. It meant I could get a demo of this, and naturally I wanted to get it signed by him and buy it straight after, and I'll do a review on it. We'll see whether it stands the test of future plays and how good the AI system is in the solo mode. But so far, first impressions are positive. Alright, that's another... Oh, that's a spare copy of Sweet Mess. I need to put that away. Right, hello everybody. Hello, Nucleum. Yes, weren't you lots gritting teeth and biting your nails thinking about what I was going to think of this one? Yes, I played a scripted demo with Paul Grogan on the Saturday, and I didn't hate the game. I know, right? I'm surprised as well. Now, I gave it a fair chance, okay? I mean, I know people compare it to Brass and Barrage, and I hate Brass and I hate Barrage, and I don't like Power Grid either, so it wasn't exactly starting on the right foot. But let me put it this way. I mean, the game is pretty much a bit like Brass. You know, you have power plants that generate electricity. Well, it is like Brass and Barrage. You've got power plants and uranium plants that generate electricity, which allow you to score a bucket load of endgame points. In Brass, you have to create networks with rail links, and you build buildings in various places from these different tiers. Same thing in here. But here's a few differences between those two games and this, which is why I actually came away liking it. Alright, I need to play it more, I need to play a full game of this to really get my first impressions down, but it doesn't use the card system from Brass. So none of that random element of, I need to do this critical move here, otherwise I'm screwed for the whole game. No card. Great. Well, that sucks. Oh, I guess I got to discard multiple to make it a wild. Right, now I've got no flexibility. Well, you didn't have to do that. Oh, great. You know, none of that stupid element from Brass. Here you've got action tiles with double actions on them, and you can use them as network rail links where you can get people to cooperatively help you build a rail network in order to get victory points and bonuses, which is really cool. You know, positive interaction. It can exist, people. You know, this game doesn't have a lot of meanness in it. Apart from beating someone to energizing a neutral building or such, or maybe taking a card you wanted, for the most part, this is a nicer version of Brass and Barrage in terms of like your ability, your interaction with other players. But from Barrage, it only really takes the whole idea that you're running power plants to energize stuff. Honestly, the rest of Barrage isn't really in this. None of that whole meanness that Barrage has. But here you've got action tiles that are ones that you have at the start of the game, and you can pay to acquire more, and they're not random draws. You can see what's there and you can buy the ones that you want. If you don't have the tile for an action that you need, that's your fault, not the game's. Always a good thing. So you got the positive interaction. You also can build anywhere on the map. You don't have to, you know, in order to energize stuff, you need to be like in your network. But to begin with, you can basically just build where you need to. You want to build a rail link over there? You can build it over there. Are you there already? Nah. But you know what? I'm going to build a rail link over there. None of this restriction that the Brass and Barrage games has. But that's not to say that this is a cakewalk. I mean, if you start bad in this game, you're going to fail miserably. This definitely has a lot of meat to it. It's definitely a thinky game. There's definitely a lot that can go wrong for you in this. And I am worried that the whole game feels like it's all about the energizing of the houses via the power plants, because that seems to be the main way you score any decent amount of victory points. And if it's all about that, is there going to be enough variety in this game from a differentiation standpoint to make me come back to this on a regular basis, or am I just going to be playing the same game all the time because it's all focused on that one element? We will have to see. It's going to get more plays, and I am doing a review. This is a review donated by Board and Dice, so thank you. We will just have to see. I mean, God forbid, there could be... I mean, I have liked some games by Simone Luciani. I know he's not my favorite designer, but I have liked some games from him. And David Turksey, again, hit and miss. There are some games I love from David Turksey, and there are some games I don't. It's just different strokes. But hopefully, this could be one that I could put my stock behind. But it's going to take a few plays. It's going to take some time to get used to it. And, of course, try out the solo mode as well. So, you know, I'm going to give this a fair shot. Because first impressions were good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the demo. Paul Grogan did the demo. Well played to him. And I understood a lot of what the game was on about, and I feel like there's stuff to explore here. Is it going to be my top one of the year? I very much doubt it. This isn't my style of game normally anyway, you know, this sort of theme and, you know, the kind of, like, everything focused on one element, but, you know, I'm giving it a shot. So, we shall see. I got some friends who are dying to play this with me, because they are big Brass fans, so, here you go. Let's play. Let's find out. Oh boy. No. Oh god. Big, heavy. Right, two more. Here we go. So, this is the big one. Actually, no, I'm going to get the small one first. Review copy from Studio H. This is Virtual Revolution. Apparently an area control game with a kind of cyberpunky theme, where you take the reins of a multinational corporation producing virtual universes, and you're basically struggling against rival competitors in order to take control of Neo Paris. After all, Studio H is predominantly French. And, I mean, it looks a little bland on the board, I must admit, but apparently this is based on... I can't remember if it was based on a book series or a TV... I think it was based on a sci-fi indie movie or a sci-fi indie TV show based in France, obviously. So it's not one that I've heard of, but I'm curious to see how this one will play out. You know, I feel like we need a couple more area control games that throw a bit of a twist on here. Throwing a cyberpunky type theme on here with, you know, a cool cover and, you know, that sort of setting might be a bit more appealing rather than just controlling stuff with knights and, you know, paladins and whatever, you know, it's a medieval style thing. But will the game be any good? I've no idea. This one's a bit of a gamble, but I'm going to give it a shot and see. It just might be a while before I can get to this one because there are a lot of other games that I need to play in priority. But 2 to 4 players, 90 minutes. We'll see if it's any good. We'll find out. Finally, the last game. And I'm going to need a hand to pick this one up. Here we go. The one that was pretty high on my anticipated list, and one that I think was the first demo I played at the whole convention, Path of Civilization, A Story of Humankind. So this one is the one that I thought was going to be like a Meteor 7 Wonders. Well, I've played half a game. It's not 7 Wonders Meteor. No, yes, there's a civilization themed card game. Yes, the cards are different colors to represent, say, military or culture or science, that kind of thing. You don't draft the cards in this. This is more about kind of a technology resource management thing. The idea is that you have these technologies that you can level up in 4 different categories, but in your turn, you have a board with, you know, 4 or 5 slots on it, a vertical one and 4 horizontal ones. Your cards, the technologies, are horizontal with a bonus on one side and a bonus on the other, but they work in different ways. You have to choose 4 of the cards out of the 5 that you have to put on these 4 horizontal slots to get their respective bonuses. But you have to then bin the 5th one out of the game forever, and later ones will get you victory points, but the starter ones will just be worth nothing. But you binned it. So that one bonus you can't get again. So it focuses you into the path that you've chosen, the path of civilization. I mean, now it's in the title, but it means you can't use that card again. And so with your turn, you'll gain another technology, or you'll gain technology points that you can spend to get new techs, which will be more cards. So your cards will progressively get better as the game goes along. You'll generate cubes for things like diplomats and military leaders and philosophers, I think the other one was. And these have free, you know, this means that you can buy, you know, you can get military power when those conflicts come up in the timeline. You can get new advisors, which you put in the middle slot on your board that give you perpetual bonuses, or, you know, other abilities. You can get buildings that you build that give you cool bonuses and points and contribute to other cards in the timeline. You basically have like 9 rounds where these different events can turn up later, and you can see what's coming, and you're like, ooh, do I prepare for that event, or do I just let that one slide? You know, that one wants me to get a lot of blue cards. Well, that means I need philosophers. I could go down that route, go down the religion route, you know, maybe we'll go that way. But I was impressed by the first half of the game I played. but I do need to play a full game of this, and preferably when I kind of know more what I'm doing. And also I need to try the solo mode out in this. I think there is a solo mode in here. And the promos and the sign sheet are trying to fall out of the shrink wrap. But this is supposedly a Civilization game that can do 1 to 5 players simultaneously. And yeah, there's a lot of simultaneous play in this. So I reckon that this game could finish in 2 hours if you played it with 5. If people know what they're doing, maybe the first game could be a bit long, I don't know. But I was very keen to try this one out as a demo. That's why I went to it first. And so far, I like it. First impressions are positive. But again, I only played half a game. First half of the game. I need to play some full games. I need to try the solo mode. Will this stand the test of more plays? We shall see, but I was very keen to try it. This is effectively it's not a review copy. I had to buy this one with my own cash, but I still want to give it a review because I want to see if Captain Games could be like a new publisher on the line to look for. So, yep, keen to get that one done, and the promo's fallen out of the sheet already. Oh, great. Thank you, shrink wrap. Right. Whew. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is my haul. I mean, I'm not including little promos like a Endless Winter card here and some Nucleum tiles there and bits and bobs like that. No, this is basically the haul I've got, although I did briefly mention the Deep Rock Galactic sheet, which I did get to talk to the designers of Deep Rock Galactic there, and I got to admit, they're nice people. They're really passionate about the game. Apparently, the studio for Mood Publishing, it's only down the road from Ghost Ships, the ones who do the actual video game, which I thought was quite cool. That explains their relationship. But yeah, I mean, I hope to review Deep Rock Galactic at some point in the future out of my own free will. But so far, really liking it, and I probably will be backing the expansions. Despite the fact that I think they're a bit overpriced, I do think it's a bit overpriced. Yeah, sorry, I have to say, but Christmas is coming up, and I do like the game. Spoiler alert. So. You know, warts and all, it's not perfect, but, you know, I'm keen to try out some more content. But anyway, yeah, that's Essen. That's Essen for another year. Thank you to everybody who saw me and said hi, asked me to pose for a selfie, or just said they like the show. It means a lot to know that there are some of you out there that like what I do, particularly with the whole honest opinions and telling it how it is things. You know, some publishers don't want to see the back end of me. Some people don't want to see the back end of me for that reason. But I'm glad that there's some of you out there that like what I do, and when you come up to see me during a convention, just say hi, don't be nervous. I will gladly talk to you. I will gladly pose for a selfie with you, and it's just nice to, you know, get your thoughts. I mean, I had people turn up from Bulgaria, from the States to Mexico. You know, there was Australia. You know, there was a good range of people there who have seen the Broken Meeple show, and I thank you for letting me know that you support the show. So, you know, it was a great show. You know, 4 days of Essen. I am exhausted, especially after doing this video. I've got, what, maybe another hour and a half of tonight before I need to really get an early night because I got to go to work tomorrow. Oh, joy. I am not looking forward to that. But, yeah, I'm exhausted, but in a good way. Essen was a great convention, and I look forward to going for Essen 2024. So that's it for me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, then please thumb up this video on YouTube and share it on the internet and on social media. Let me know your thoughts about all these games I've talked about. Have you played any? Did you go to Essen and play some? What are your first impressions? Are there some that you look forward to? Some that you think will be rubbish? Some that you think I've got the wrong idea of? You know, let me know your thoughts. And of course, check out the other content like the 2 Essen vlogs I did impromptu with Hilmar from Midgard that I did during the show. One of them has slightly choppy visuals because the Wi-Fi in the hotel was terrible that night. The second one visually is a lot better. But by all means, check out those 2 vlogs where we talk about the show and various stuff in general and interact with the chat. They were live streams. They were really good fun to do, and Hilmar and I will do a top 10 in the future. Check out the second vlog for more details on what that could be. But until next time, remember, regardless of whether you attended Essen or not, just remember, it's only a game, and maybe one day you'll get to attend, but as long as you're enjoying the games you've got, that's the main thing. Take care, and bye for now, everyone.